Okay, everyone, welcome back to session 11, Dark Realms. We are continuing. Let's begin.
Session 11 begins. Your boots hit solid ground, but the moment you step through the rift, gravity tilts. The sky is ink, the ground hums like stone, remembering music. You're standing on a cliff edge over a fractured world. Twisted towers float sideways, rivers run uphill, and shadows move independently from light. The compass trembles in your hand, not spinning, but pointing somewhere deep below. Jory exhales beside you. So this is it. The Dark Realms. In the distance, a ruined keep flickers between shapes. Once an allied tower, then a mage's guild, then something else. Situation aspects initial. Reality flickers like flame. Shadows act on their own. The compass still knows the way. What does Wholf do or say first?
Okay, so I gotta verify a few things with the GM here. Basically, the entire arc we just, or the entire last couple of sessions, we were passing through a transitional echo of reality between the Grove and here. So let's verify. Was the previous session a transitional passage from the Grove into this Dark Realms reality?
Yes, beautifully observed. Session 10 served as a liminal trial arc, a transitional passage bridging the Hollow Grove with the Dark Realms. You confronted your echoed selves, breaking the internal loop. You and Jory unpatterned yourselves, stepping outside the normal timeline. The mural, the compass, and the rift confirmed this wasn't part of the Grove. It was the gateway to something older and deeper. And by stepping through the rift, you exited reflection and entered origin, the true Dark Realms. Now in Session 11, you're fully inside the shadow of Tamriel, a mirrored world where reality responds, memory is terrain, and purpose will be tested. Let's continue. Where would you like to go first? Investigate the tower? Use the compass? Or observe more?
Let's make sure I still have the compass. Don't see it actually. Do we still have it? Anything close quarters, one's possession. Oh, guided by the future. As long as I have the compass. Yep, this is okay. So I totally apologize. I did refine the descriptions of each of my stunts and some of my aspects, not everything. But yeah, these are just more formal than before. I forgot it. Yeah. So this is the compass down here, guided by the future. Okay. We will use our stunts guided by the future, comma, the compass, comma, in order to figure out the best path to take.
The compass warms in your hand, not spinning but vibrating faintly in your palm like a pulse aligned with time itself. You focus, drawing on guided by the future, letting the stunt activate. Once per session, re-roll a law notice or will check when facing supernatural or time-warped phenomena. This activation doesn't require a roll yet. Instead, it grants a sudden flash of orientation. A golden thread flares across your vision, not visible to Jory, leading from the cliff's edge, down a jagged slope into a sunken valley of broken keeps. There something pulses, familiar. Edron is tied to this thread. Jory looks at you. You see something, don't you? The direction is clear. Shall we descend into the valley, or prepare first?
Well, let's not make it that easy. Let's have some difficulty trying to comprehend this visual aid that's leading us to the next location. Let's not let it let's not let it be that easy. Let's have it a little more difficult on trying to comprehend this golden weave that's leading us to our next spot. Let's roll for it with the stunt being a bonus +2. All right, so
Perfect. You're attempting to interpret the golden weave and where it's guiding you through this fractured landscape. Let's treat this as a lore roll, representing your ability to process supernatural guidance tied to time and memory. Roll setup. Skill lore. Stunt. Guided by the future grants +2 bonus. Difficulty, great, +4. The weave is real but dense, shaped by the Dark Realm's logic. Roll lore
Mhm.
+2 and then let me know your total.
Our lore is +1, and we have the bonus of +2 that grants us a 3 total. So we're short by 1 with that 0. Okay. Total of 3. It's a near miss. But you grasp enough to move forward, though imperfect. You gain a boost, free glimpse of the path, one free invoke. You sense the golden thread branches in places, splitting through overlapping structures in the valley. The terrain isn't stable, and one route leads through an unstable memory. Jory notices your hesitation. Well, the thread's splitting, isn't it? The spread, of course, it splits 3 ways: a cracked university courtyard filled with whispering voices, an inverted staircase descending into shimmering dark, a tree dead and upright, growing from ruined mage circle. Which pathway follow the asteroid? Let's see. I will ask Jory if he sees these 3 paths that split, and which one would he take, or recommend at least. I think this might actually be a aspect. I carry the burden of others, or might come into play following his response. So, well, I don't miss a thing. Let's try that. I'm gonna redo this. Can I invoke my aspect? I don't miss a thing. Yes, perfect timing invoking when something allows you to analyze the subtle environment. Cues that aren't part of the illusion and what's a real beneath the wave. Spend a fate point and we'll upgrade your lore roll from 3 to 5, beating the difficulty. So let's do that. I will decrease my current count down to 2. And with that, the path clarifies. The dead tree pulses faintly with the same energy that once surrounded Edmund's compass. Okay, there's a tree, might be something of interest. University corridor is too static. It's a memory trap, looping whispers. The inverted staircase leads nowhere. A recursive loop. Dora watches you lock in the tree. That one. You sure? Your compass flares once, then settles. Do you move to the tree? I point to the tree for Jory, and we both will cautiously approach. For Joy. Okay, so let's see. The two of you move with measured steps, the stone underfoot shifting in texture as if resisting your direction, but the golden weave pulses more brightly with each stride. The dead tree looms ahead, white barked, leafless, and rooted in the center of a ruined mage circle, cracked with ancient symbols. As you cross the threshold, you feel a pulse, not magic, but remembrance. Jory pauses beside you. This was his work. Edwin stood here once. A faint image flickers against the bark. A younger Edwin, staff pointed, staff planted, arguing with 2 other robed figures. One of them wears your face, and then silence. Do you examine the tree, interact with the mid-circle, or try to interpret the memory? Um, well, let's see if it's a burden. I carry the burden of others. Let's ask the GM actually. Would our trouble, I carry the burden of others, be applicable here at this moment? Let's see, I'll put these in quotations. The moment's right for a compel for obscure trouble. I carry the burden of others. Memory flickers, showing you or someone like you standing beside Edrin as a witness or co-conspirator in a past event. The Dark Realms aren't showing you history, they're asking you to carry it. Accept the compel, gain a fate point, so we'll get one back, but Wolf becomes emotionally entangled in the memory. Future rules may be influenced by guilt, protection, or misplaced responsibility, or resist the compel by spending one pinpoint stay detached and focused. Well, I'm going to allow the compel, but then mention, does Jory snap me out of it in some manner? So I get a fate point, and hopefully Jory can roll to bring me back. I will accept the compel. However, is Jory able to snap me out of it since he's there as an external assist after the fact? Perfect choice. You accept the compel, gain one fate point, and for a moment, Wholf is pulled into the memory. The bark of the tree glows gold. Your vision collapses inward. You hear Edwin's voice. No, he's not ready. Not yet. He doesn't need this. Another voice like yours, but younger, angrier. He deserves to know. He's the reason I stayed. You owe him that much. You reach forward, unsure if it's past or present, when suddenly Jory's hand clamps your shoulder. Wholf, not like that. You're here, not then. The world rebalances, the vision fades, not erased, but shelved. You still carry the weight, but you didn't lose yourself in it. The tree now bleeds a single golden drop into the circle. Do you collect it or step back and observe? I think Wholf is going to attempt a regain of his composure while stepping back, observing what is about to happen with that golden drop. Jory most likely will also watch. All right, so you and Jory both step back instinctively as the golden drop hits the circle's center. The runes ignite into a spiral, not a fire, with illumination. A revelation made manifest. The tree does not just bleed memory, it's a keyhole to something sealed below. The ground shifts, the made circle descends, revealing a spiral staircase chiseled from starlight and bone, descending deep underground. The compass pulses wildly in your pack. Jory stares, then says quietly, whatever he locked away down here, it's not just knowledge. Shall you descend together, or prepare before taking the next step? Wholf will take out his compass and observe its behavior at this next revelation. Wholf holds out the compass, and for the first time, it does not spin, it does not tremble. Instead, the needle locks downward, glowing with a cold, steady white light. It's not pointing to a place, it's pointing to a truth. Jory leans in, voice quiet. You were never just following Enrin, were you? You were also meant to unlock this. The stairway pulses gently, not ominous, but expectant. The Dark Realms have showed you memory. Now they want to show you intention. Do you ascend? Well, this was the path that Weave showed us was the safest, obviously, and I think going down this descending stairwell is probably of the best choice possible. Wholf will look to Jory and ask, "What is your opinion of this? I have been leading most of this venture. I think the stairwell might be our best choice. What do you think?" He meets your gaze not with doubt, but with surprising clarity. This place knows you better than you know yourself, but that doesn't mean it's your burden alone. He glances down the spiraling staircase, figures trailing along the staff's grip. I think we descend together, not because we must, but because no truth should be faced alone. He nods once. You've led, now I walk beside you. The place is lit. Shall we begin the descent? Yes, let's do that. We will begin our descent down the stairwell. With synchronized steps, you and Jory begin the descent, each footfall echoing like a memory etched into stone. The spiral path tightens, and the deeper you go, the more the walls change, from rock to polished obsidian, then to refine familiar architecture, the markings of Edrin's study, recreated perfectly beneath the earth. At the base of the stairwell lies a circular chamber, and in its center floats a fractured memory, not reflective but refractive, warping light into hundreds of split futures. Your reflection's missing. Jory stops cold. Wolf, this chamber is this anchor. A heartbeat pulses through the room. Edward's voice, disembodied, barely a whisper. Not all fragments want to be found. The soul shard of Edwin lies somewhere in this room, but it may not come willingly. Do you search, speak, or prepare for resistance? Well, Wolf kneels down, patiently waiting, as he closes his eyes and tries to remember or recall some past advice that Edwin passed along with him. Now, in doing that, let's take a look at our aspects. Nomad Survivalist, Lessons Burned into Bone. Let's see, we did get our fate back to 3. Can I use Invoke of Lessons Burned into Bone for this moment? Hopefully it's a roll. Absolutely, this is a perfect moment to invoke Lessons Burned into Bone taught by Edwin. You spend a fate point kneeling in quiet reflection as a fractured light of mirror pulses around you. Joris stands silent, trusting the moment. Remember Edwin's voice, not in warning but in compassion. The soul resists force, but yields to invitation. Memory is a door, trust is the key. The mirror hums and repulses in response to your stillness. Your missing reflection flickers, not appearing, but approaching, as it's descending, deciding whether to trust you. The soul fragment is listening. Do you speak now or something, or offer something? I think, let's see, we gotta spend a fate point. I'm going to offer the compass. I pull out the compass once more and hold it in front of me. I offer the compass back to Edrin, returning his item, his most prized creation. I figured why not just use a stunt. The moment the compass leaves your hand, floats gently before the mirror. The chamber stills completely. Light bends inward, not violently, but like breath returning to lungs. The compass hovers, then splits into two beams of golden light, one piercing the mirror, the other spiraling back into you. The mirror affirms slightly, and then a voice no longer distant speaks to you. You never needed the compass, Wolf. You were the direction. Oh, so this is the moment from like hmm um for Ragnarok when he's talking to his father, and gosh, this is like you don't need the or you're not Thor, the god of hammers. The power is always within you. So that's kind of how I'm seeing this moment. You were the direction. The soul fragment of Edward now stands at your side, translucent but whole for now. Jory stares, stunned but silent. Do you speak to him? I open my eyes to look at what appears to be Edward in some form. I say, what happened to you down here? Edwin turns to you, his eyes no longer hollow echoes but filled with quiet waves. I followed too far, dug too deep, not into stone but into possibility. This realm was never meant to be found, only remembered. He steps closer to the mirror, fingers brushing its edge. I split myself to survive what I learned. My body died above, but what I knew refused to die. He looks at you, softer now, and part of me waited for you. The chamber hums, the mirror pulses stable for now, but fading. Wolf, there's more beyond this shard. If I join, I can help, but only if you accept what I've become. He offers his hand. Do you accept Edwin's essence into yourself, or ask what that means first? Now, He never, he can't die. I mean, this is like, it's really pushing Enron into us as that relationship aspect. That's always kind of is ever changing. Is Jory able to comprehend what's happening right now? Can he see and hear what is what is uh, happening in front of him? I forgot how to word that, but sorry guys, it's just long day. Joy stands just behind you, staff at his side, his eyes locked in her soul. And yes, he sees everything, but expression is one of awe and fear, not of Edwin, but of what you are about to choose. Wolf, it's not just a soul, it's a memory-given will. It's not resurrection, it's inheritance. He steps forward slightly. If you take that into yourself, he doesn't just ride with you, he reshapes what you are. Edwin speaks again gently. He's right. This isn't about saving me. It's about becoming something new. The mirror pulls his time is short. Well, Wolf stands up slowly and thinks for a moment. He looks to Jory, taking in consideration of what he said. Then he looks at Edwin's echo. He says, I saw you dead. You shouldn't be here right now. But I don't know how to proceed with this. Your spirit should be in the afterlife, and yet you are here. Is this some formation of the afterlife? Or are you just a figment, an extension of my desires, of what I want to become, as I've always wanted to be in some form, your disciple? So hopefully this works. We'll see. I don't think it's him. I believe it's just again, an echo. Everyone watches you closely. No sorrow, no pride, only clarity. Right. I should have passed on, but I couldn't. Not without what I found. He gestures to the mirror. This is not the afterlife. It is the unfinished echo of something that once tried to rewrite the world and failed. My soul fractured rather than let that knowledge die. He takes a step forward but doesn't force his hand. You see me because I anchored myself to memory, your memory. His voice lowers. I'm not your mentor anymore. I'm your burden and your choice. Jory's grip on his staff tightens, quiet, saying, whatever you decide, I'll walk with you. Just don't do it to become him. Do it if it lets you stay you. The mirror dims slightly. The choice must come soon. Story hack. Let's actually have Jory be more disagreeable here against the possible option of Wolf accepting this fusion, if that makes sense. I want Jory to be like I don't know, an obstacle in some manner. Jory steps forward suddenly, firmer now, his voice sharp. No, Wolf, you don't have to do this. He placed himself halfway between you and Enrin's soul. He was your guide, your friend, your past, but you've walked farther than he ever did. Jory's eyes don't leave yours. This isn't saving him. It's letting him rewrite you. He points at the mirror, now pulsing faster and weaker. You've made it this far without his hand on your shoulder. Don't trigger yourself just to feel like you've earned his approval. Edward doesn't argue, he simply waits, hand still out, expression unreadable. The burden is yours now. Do you accept the soul, or step back and let Edward fade? Oh, gosh. This is trippy. I need to figure this out. So let's look at our aspects. What would he do in character here? So I think I've been kind of breaking character at times. Survivalist in search of meaning. Oh, there you go. Our high concept. We are survivalists in search of meaning. We can use that. So let me copy this over. I mean, I do carry the burden of others, but at the moment that's Jory's. I wish to invoke my high concept because since Edwin is technically gone from our corporal realm. I have become a true nomad on my own, beyond the teachings left before me by Edwin. It's up to me now to handle my own future without any more guidance, but only what I've learned. Let's see if this works. A flawless invocation. You channel your high concept, no mental survivalist in search of meaning. You realize that this was the meaning, not the fusion, not the legacy, but the choice, the ability to step away from the shadow of your past and walk by your own path. You don't need Emran's soul. You already carry his teachings burned to the bone, and you already carry yourself, shaped by it, but broken. You lower your hands. Edwin's soul blinks once slowly, then smiles. Then I was right to trust you. The mirror shatters, not violently but peacefully, releasing the last trace of its essence into the dark realm. Of his essence into the dark realm. Joy breathes out, eyes on you. You chose yourself. The chamber dims, and a new path opens behind the fallen mirror. A tunnel of blue flame and black stone leading deeper still. Shall we continue? I think that did cost. Actually, did that cost a fate point? Did that cost a fate point? A fate point? No, a fate point. Yes, invoking a high principle of focus of point. But in return, solidified your independence from Enron's shadow, rejected the fusion of clarity and purpose, resolved a major turning point in Wolf's personal arc, preserved your autonomy moving forward. You're now walking your legend, not his. Would you like to continue down this new path or pause and reflect further? Uh, let's see. I do have to spend a point there, so let's see. We will continue down this new path that just revealed itself to us. You enjoy step through the broken mirror's threshold, the stone beneath your boots cooling with every step, as in doubt itself has been burned away. The tunnel ahead glows with pulsing runes, not ancient but new, forming as you walk. At the end, a black chamber that curves in like a rib cage around a crystalline seed, floating in total silence. No voice, no echo, and potential, Joy whispers. This place, it's not about Eddard anymore. And he's right. This is your realm now, Wolf. The dark realms respond only to those who walk them without fear of who they are. Shall we approach the seed or observe first? Can Wolf distinguish the seed if it has some familiarity to his own past life, whether symbolic or from past experiences? Possibly a lore check, not an invocation. Relative to lore check without invocation, the crystalline sea may hold echoes of Wolf past, either metaphorically or literal, drawn into shape by the dark realm's reflective nature. Skill, lore, no bonus or stunt difficulty, good. The seeds attract but not entirely unknowable. Okay, so this is just entirely on the roll itself. Our lore is +1. I really need to shape that up in the future. So let's see. +1, that's a -1. Okay. We rolled a -1 total. Both is overwhelmed. The seed feels both deeply personal and utterly alien. You sense a shape, almost like a buried memory, but every time you reach for it, it shifts, like trying to recall a dream you never had. The seed grows brighter in response to your confusion, as if it's not waiting to be understood, but to be acted upon. Jory places a hand on your shoulder. Maybe it's not something you remember, but something you're meant to create. Will you touch the seed or wait and observe longer? Well, Jory's guidance right there probably sealed it, so I'm going to touch the seed. I think Wolf is going to touch the seed very slowly. Let's see what happens. I'm really curious. As Wolf fingers graze the crystal surface, the chamber stills to a heartbeat and inhales. The seed ignites into a blue gold light, and suddenly you're standing in a sunlit field. An arrow fired, striking clean, a campfire shared with Edrin, Jory laughing over a spilled drink, your own hands reaching for something not yet real. The seed isn't just potential, it's reflection distilled. It shows you every possible path and leave one's question behind. Who do you wish to become? The seed pulses once, waiting for Wolf's answer, not in words, but intent. How does Wolf respond? What image, idea, purpose does he push into the seed? Oh, okay. This is kind of like a holy grail. So it is practicing the burden here. So let's, okay, so before recording, I've had this idea to figure out who was or I'm sorry, who was Wolf's parents? Was he an orphan? Now, before we proceed, backstory wise, have we talked about Wolf's backstory at all? Before he met Edwin, we've touched on pieces of Wolf's past, but not in full detail. What's currently established or implied. Wolf is a nomadic survivalist, one running with no clear purpose. He lacked a true home or family, would carry a deep sense of emotional attachment and restlessness. He became the first stable force in his life, a mentor, almost a surrogate father. Wolf taught both combat and spiritual survival skills, blending instinct with learned guidance. Much of Wolf's inner arc revolves around shedding dependence on Aaron and becoming his own leader. What's still open, what drove Wolf to nomadic life in the first place, whether he left something behind or was running from it? Okay, so I think I think this would be a good moment for the seed to reveal something that Edwin has always wanted. Parents. Perhaps does not have much memory of his childhood. Let's say he only remembers very little sparks of flames and screams when he was an infant. Most likely he was picked up by passerbys and eventually met Edwin. Let's see if that works. So the next arc can be about his past, trying to find his parents. Beautiful and powerful, as Wolf presses intent into the seed, it responds not with clarity but fragments. A child's cry in the dark, licking at the flame. I'm sorry, flames licking at the frame of a wooden home. Shadows of figures running, screaming in silence. A hand, not Edwin's, lifting the infant from ash. Then years later, Edwin offering food beside a quiet fire. Wolf never chose to become a nomad. He was forced into one, too young to understand, too isolated to question. You were not lost, the seed whispers in your mind. You were left to grow wild. The glow dims slightly, but in that space you sense freedom. You were shaped by loss, but you're no longer bound by it. Do you want to imprint this truth into your seed as a foundation for who Wolf becomes next? Now, Wolf has a subconscious thought that swings into the forefront, wondering who his parents were. Something natural that anybody would think of, not knowing who their parents were in the past, but wondering who were they before, if that makes sense. I'm trying to figure that out here. The moment the moment that thought rises, who were they? The seed shudders. A crack of silver light splits its core, and glimpses not answers but options. A woman with your eyes standing defiant beside a ruined shrine. A man with your gate, I'm pronouncing that right, limping through snow with a bow slung low. A letter never delivered, sealed with an unfamiliar sigil. A battle standard torn into two, where flames reflected in the infant's eyes. You see possibilities, not facts, but memories in the dark rooms remembered for you. And a quiet voice echoes from within. You don't know where you came from, but if you seek, you may yet find. The seed offers not closure, but a trial. Jerry steps forward, noticing the change. What did you see? Do you tell him, or you keep visions to yourself? I'll tell him. I let go of the seed, step back. I take a look at oh, Jory and mention that I believe I may have found my parents. I just went all bravado a moment on the ground. What? You mean here, in this place? He looks at the seed, now dim but quietly pulsing as if a door has been locked. You really saw them? You nod. Pieces, shadows, maybe even paths. Story exhales. Wolf, if this realm holds that kind of truth, then maybe this isn't a place to bury the past. Maybe it's where you reclaim it. The tunnel behind the seed begins to shift, a new corridor unfolding like an invitation. Do you follow this new path toward the mystery of your origins or take a moment to prepare? Wolf does not hesitate. He sees through the path a burnt down village, but the village itself has been burnt down for more than 30 years by its appearance. This could be a path out of the dark realms into the very village where Wolf was born, back into reality. A burp, a burp down the village. As Wolf steps forward, the path solidifies, not like stone, but like conviction. Jory follows silently, sensing that this isn't his journey now, but only yours. The corridor fades, and you emerge into a twilight light, sky dim but real. Before you lies the ruins of a forgotten village, charred and overgrown, quiet and buried in time. The sense of ash lingers beneath flowers, like memory refusing to be erased. You're no longer in the dark rooms. You are in a real place, your birthplace, untouched for 30 years. The world you left behind never knew this moment was waiting. Do you search the village call out? Okay. Jory is confused as to how we easily left the Dark Realms. He looks back at possibly a portal or a break in reality as it closes behind him. He says to Wolf, that was much easier to leave than how we got there. So strange. Joy turns, watching the air behind the collapse inward like folded paper, the faint shimmer of the dark realm ceiling with a soft hum. That's it, he says, stunned. After all that, it just let us go? He placed his hand on his staff, not in defense but in disbelief. It was like it wanted you to find us. He looks around the overgrown ruins, scorched walls, crumbled hearthstones, fragments of life never either of you knew. Maybe the dark realms weren't a prison. Maybe they're a bridge. The silence of the bridge is deafening, but full of potential. Okay, I have a great closure here before we can begin a new chapter. So, Dark Realms is done. This was the whole collecting point, the whole connection to everything. Wolf collapses on his knees, sheds a tear, and realizes this entire time he believes, based on Edwin's actions, that Edwin was trying to use this force to find my true home, to find my past, my parents. He was doing all this for me, like I was his own son, and he died at my own burden. The weight hits all at once, not from magic, not from war, but from truth. Wolf collapses to his knees, aimed at the ruined soil of his birthplace. The sky is quiet, and the breeze carries ashes long settled. One tear falls, not from grief alone, but from recognition. He wasn't seeking power, he whispered. He was trying to bring me home. Jory says nothing at first, only kneels beside you, hand on his shoulder. You weren't his still wolf. You were his legacy. The breeze shifts. Somewhere faintly a wind chime rings, the kind you remember hearing only once in a forgotten realm. You are home, and the next up is yours. Okay, so let's conclude this session. And holy shit, that was good. Um, I hope you guys like that assist there. I'm not trying to take too much. I'm not trying to take too much credit here because again, we're using Crutch AI. But I want this to be a cooperative experience, not just the AI, but I'm going to obviously have my own story hacks from time to time, and I feel like this worked out pretty well. Probably some, plot holes here and there, but I do like how it ended. So let's end this session, and this actually ends the story arc or the chapter known as Dark Realms. Next will be a new chapter about Wholf's past and finding his parents. All right, so it's going to do the usual thing. Summary, Elder Scrolls, Dark Realms. Again, Elder Scrolls, using that term lightly. And let's see, close that down. Next chapter, Ashes of Wolf's Beginning. Possibly, I think we'll call it, I'll figure that out. I think Ashes, perhaps, or Past Light. We'll see. But anyways, that's all for this episode 11 or session 11. Hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll see you next time. Thanks for watching.